Hello and welcome to Homespun 2020, a presentation by the Mill Museum and funded in part by the Last Green Valley. Today's project is basic weaving. So weaving is something that is in every culture around the world, and every civilization came up with a way to weave so that they could use fabric and yarn and thread and make fabrics that they could use for clothing and bedding. So some of the early primitive cultures, they used sticks. This is a giant forked stick that has become a loom. They wrapped some thread around it, making what we call the warp thread, and then wove in what we call the weft thread. Here is a fine piece of weaving from the natives of the Southwest. And they have beautiful patterns, and they weave very tightly with wool yarn. We're going to need some yarns, and they can be any color or scraps. We're going to need a pair of scissors to cut the yarn, and a comb for a beater, you'll find out what that's about, and some cardboard to make a loom. The cardboard can be any different size, so the bigger the cardboard, the more yarn you need and the longer it takes. Here's a piece of cardboard, and I have cut slits in it. And I need to make slits on each side, along one edge and along the other edge, and I need an odd number. 7 or 9 or 11 or 13 or more, but it needs to be odd. Now I'm going to put warp threads on my loom. So I'm going to wrap around one corner here, and I'm going to go down. I am warping the loom. I'm going to go around this tab here and back, and down here and around and back, so that I am going to cover this entire thing with threads, and that will make my loom. All right, now I'm ready to begin weaving. Weaving is going under, over, under, over. So I would take a piece and I would put it in the notch there to hold it, and then I would weave over a thread, under the next, over a thread, under the next, over a thread, and then I'm going to come back. So when I come to the end, I'm going to weave this thread in. To start a new thread, I could actually take the threads or the yarns and tie a knot, or I can just weave it in very tight and cut these at the end. So I would take this piece and continue. I'm going to go under, over, under, over, under, and then I'm going to go back. I'm going to put this in tight, and then I'm going to weave back with this end. I'm going to keep weaving back and forth, back and forth. The comb is used to keep it really tight. Weaving needs to be really tight. A loom has a beater. This is our beater. Also, another thing you can do is you can make a shuttle. This is a little piece of cardboard. I've cut notches out, and I have wrapped some yarn around it. And I can use this to go back and forth, under, over, under, over, under, over. And that will help me to weave, and then I can go back the other way. So that's making a shuttle. Other things you can do. You can weave with paper or ribbon. This is some ribbon, and this is a really great way to start with children, to have big strips of paper or ribbon, and I'm going to go under, over, And I'm going to weave in this piece of ribbon. And I'm making a placemat, perhaps. These ends can be glued down if you want to hold them in place. You do want to use contrasting colors so that you can see that weave. When you're learning, it helps you to be able to see the weave that also the under-over design makes like a checkerboard. All right, so other things you can do. Here's some weaving. This one is woven with yarn, and it's this piece of cardboard. I've made what we call a mug rug. It's a little rug that you could put your hot mug on the table. And here's a larger piece. This is the size of a cardboard from a cereal box, and you can make a little rug for a dollhouse. This weaving is done with strips of cloth. People weave with rags. They call them rag rugs. Here's another one with ribbon. Here's another one with yarn. This one has strips of cloth. And here's another one working on it with ribbon. So, all kinds of ways to do some weaving with paper or ribbon or yarn or threads and cloth, and have some fun weaving. And thanks for joining us at Homespun 2020. This program presents ideas of activities and crafts that you can make at home